Hi, I'm Susan. I'm from Worldpeacefull. And today's subject is justice, a subject I've been contemplating for 15 years actually. I've been contemplating justice alongside truth and alongside resolution and within a sphere of democracy. I'm going to read for you some philosophy I wrote, which I actually gave to a barrister in a court some years ago. My message today would be the same as it was back then. This is called What is the Nature of Justice? Natural justice is natural. When we hear there are two sides to every story, for each is innocent until proven guilty and investigated for truth. For justice to be natural, it must be fair and impartial. The scales of justice is the metaphor of blindness to bias, deafness to dishonesty, words that divert the course of justice. For to be a judge is to discern truth, and to seek truth. Impartiality is the gavel that balances rationality with emotional intelligence. A Chief Justice is the one who can see both sides, who can find balance in reflection, who reaches for wisdom as clarity and remedies each situation so that both can learn from conflict. The common laws were drafted to provide rules that the many held in common, to ensure order in disorder, to ensure fairness in dishonesty, to determine remedies for pain and suffering. For we are each other's keepers. We are all born equal, regardless of socio-economic conditions, despite uncommon language, beyond the misunderstandings. Many are seeking the same outcome, to live in freedom, to find happiness. And justice occurs in the moment we are just. Retrospectively, it is to close the case, to find closure, so all can move on in peace. Some perceive the law courts as a tennis match of persuasive points, of clever strategies, for one to prove the other is wrong, a world of right and wrong. To be technically correct within the letter of the law accords rights. But what of fairness? How many letters have been sent in search of justice, only to find losers are weak and winners are strong, and the game is to win, to fight the battle. Yet at what cost do we fight? Is there justice in winning? Is there justice in losing? Or simply vindication of procedural law? For natural justice provides a wise agreement to share responsibility, to acknowledge each other's point of view, to seek to solve the problem, not penalise the poor. This is the resolution that is natural and builds respect. For the relationship is ongoing in the future and is the basis for common law, L-O-R-E, law. If justice was never the issue for the dispute, then money oils the squeaky wheel. And this is the negotiation of power, not natural justice inequality. For power should be shared, not bought. Yet one can never buy truth, for only the truth will set you free. As a restorative justice, maintaining hope in judicial freedom that reflects society's value of a fair go. So, my dear friends, I leave you with my rendition. For we read in the papers the perversion of justice every day. Yet I believe in justice as truth. We must find ways to make it work in the best interests of society. For if we don't, the very fabric of law and order will break down. For the youth are increasingly disheartened. They see the acceptance of violence. They see adults not walking the talk. And they no longer believe in the future. Yet I believe in a future that values the truth over winning. And of course, many would say, well, what is the truth? It's to be completely transparent and visible. The way I reflect on truth is I always look at both sides, because my intention is to not hurt anyone. And because of that, I have to give empathetic reflection onto another. I think about the consequences for them. Then I come back to my own sense of inner integrity, and can I sit with this? Much of my own personal pain and suffering is coming from what I've felt as injustice, where I've seen that only one side is heard. And desperately I've tried to be heard. But to date, I might cry, I was never heard. And funnily enough, my intention was for the benefit of others. Some might say that the many years that I've stood for what I believed is true was a waste of time, but it wasn't. Everything has a process that it has to go through, and we can set up structural laws, and we can prevent people from their freedom in some way, or we may judge them. But I don't believe judgment is helpful in any situation. I think it's understanding that people are actually needing, and I believe that people need to be heard. I was in a court today and I looked around at all the people, and I knew all of them were involved in conflict that was unresolved. I'm trained in mediation. I know that there is two sides to every story. And I'm very grateful for I have a psychology, if you like, that doesn't dislike anyone. I'm very fortunate in that way. I always can see the good in everyone. And so that I know that what everybody is really needing is to be heard. And they need to feel that they can share a situation rather than have it imposed upon them. And I do believe majority of people are more than willing to meet in the middle. But unfortunately, fear tends to dictate a lot of decisions in this world. And we seek to punish, or we may seek revenge, or maybe we want something to stop, and that's okay. In the latter point of stopping something, I have no issue with that. Things, if they're not healthy and they're not generating peace and happiness, then it's in everyone's interests that that situation ceases. But I would appeal to those watching this. Can we do it in a way that enables dignity for others, that sincerely listens, and really, for a moment, imagining yourself in the other's shoes and how they might have felt if that person has suffered very deeply? What of compassion? What I'm seeing these days is that there's less and less compassion, there's less room for forgiveness, there's less space for understanding. Now, Lady Justice is the symbol that they use for true justice, which is blind to prejudice. And as I've said in my poem, deaf to deception. You could even imagine the monkey that's blind, deaf, and doesn't speak of evil. And really that's a symbol of purity and impartiality. It's in the form of a female, because females tend to nurture others. I feel we have a long way to go to really understand the true nature of justice. It is to be just in all actions that we take. It is to be fair. It is to be honest, say the truth. In a lot of ways, you can't force people into anything. They can be reasoned with, I think, unless they've got some sort of mental health issue where they can't be reasoned, and for their own good, you need to curtail something. But everybody, within reason, can meet a certain. They can move towards a certain wise agreement. And I feel deeply for those who are suffering in the world. And I wonder how I can help through my own experience. Maybe for me, it'll be to just listen to someone. When I wasn't heard, that's what I needed, to be heard. And I needed the truth to be told, because it simply wasn't fair. And that's what the balancing of the scales of justice really means. It's about fairness. And in tribal, don't mind me, I just feel what I feel. In tribal societies, they do have councils of elders who come together, and I don't know how wise these elders are, but let's just say at the village level, people do get to discuss it and to some degree are heard. But unfortunately in the judicial systems, because we've got lawyers who stand between people, and I'm not saying anything about lawyers, in respect of an approval or disapproval. I'm just simply saying that the lawyers can come in between people when really what they need to do is to actually sit down and talk and work things out. And I think that's the lesson for humanity right now, because a lot of people are suffering. So all I can really do is send out peace, love, and kindness to everyone. And if you're going through a difficult situation, just know that you're not alone, and just do your best. Speak your truth. But again, as I always say in all my videos, do no harm to anyone, because whatever you do to someone else, you'll do to yourself. And we want to create a harmony in this world where we're not in judgment of one another, but we're ready to sit in understanding with each other. And I believe those are the pathways to true peace in our world and true justice. Let's try and rebalance things and be fair and be honest. And I guess the honesty would be my message to everyone. Anyway, thank you for listening, if you've done so, if you haven't turned off by now. And I send you love, peace, and justice.